What makes a villain truly terrifying? Is it incredible power, overwhelming strategy, or is it something as simple as their appearance? No, I would argue that the scariest monster is not the most powerful, nor the smartest, nor even the most unsettling visually. I posit that the scariest monster is one that could be real. Norm, from Chirio Darimanga Watashi no Name o Shite Irubasho ni Ikitai su o Nomu, seems like your average man on the surface. He works, he drinks, he's got that dad bod drip, and yet he is one of the most horrific villains in any anime. Like Johann Liebert or Scruff Ruffman, he is realistic, yet perhaps he's even closer to Ken. Let me back up. Who is Norm? Norm is an accountant, an entirely normal person who spends so much time in his preferred waterhole that everyone shouts his name the moment he enters the door. He jokes, always, about how bad his life is, and yet he does nothing to improve it. He always has a beer in hand, and is quite charismatic. Yet under it all lies a monster, so horrible that even any Chirisu Kohai could tell you every gruesome detail, well, provided they have the stomach. Few do. I first realized how terrifying this villain was when I logged into Discord and said, "Evening, everybody," and everybody replied, "Dio!" I know, Martian, you're probably narrating this one, but the audience can just deal with how confusing this aside is. No, I feel you, man. Then it hit me. I could be Norm. Everything Norm was, all he represents, is contained within me. That's why I say he's like Ken, from Baru B. Plenty of others have made extensive essays on why Ken is just like me, and yet he is narratively the antagonist. This is a literary device known as an anti-villain. An anti-hero, more well known, is someone who is the hero of the story, yet behaves villainously. So, the anti-villain is the opposite. Someone who is the antagonist, yet acts heroically. Ken is clearly an anti-villain, as is apparently the villain from Call of Duty Infinite Warfare, Thanos. I can't really find a source on that, though. It's very obscure. Nobody's played that game. Norm, however, does not act heroically. In fact, he barely acts at all. Well, Norm barely acts, not his fantastic say, George went. Bless you, man. I would dub what Norm becomes an anti-character. He takes the role of a character in Chirisu, yet holds none of the usual agency or character arcs of, well, a character. This is where we start to run face first into some subtle symbolism, and I'll have to back out of Norm here for just a second, give a shout out to the other fantastic characters. You have Diane, the objectively better than Rebecca know-it-all who thinks her education puts her above the unwashed masses even as her experiences show otherwise. Carla is a single mother who flies off the handle well, she's a single mother from Boston. Sam is the bar's owner, who is somewhat known for his escapades with the ladies. Cliff likes money. The country boy bartender Woody, as shown in Season 4, Episode 2, does not have the healthiest relationship with food. Frasier, the psychiatrist so funny they made a whole show about him, has so much, yet desires only that which others possess, and there we go, it's another anime that uses the 7 deadly sins. That's right. For those of you who can count, we're still missing one. Norm. Norm represents the sin of sloth, and yet unlike all of these other characters, he never faces the consequences of his actions. He never receives reparations for his sins. He doesn't change his ways, by the end of the show, in fact. This is what really ties together Norm as a villain. This is what makes Chirisu less of a straight-up comedy and almost tragic. There is no one in Norm's life who can help him, and he will not or cannot help himself. So, I'll leave you with the chilling final passage of the light novel that was never really shown in the anime, and especially not the dub. And they are drinking, the beer mugs slamming on the coasters, and the bar keeps grinning hideously over their glass tumblers. Towering above them all is Norm, and he is suited, drinking. His large sips, nimble and quick, and now in double time, and toasting to the ladies, huge and pale and curly like an enormous guy. He never leaves, he says. He says he's never dry. He bows to the bartenders and looks backwards and throws back his beer and laughs deep in his throat, and he is a great favorite, Norm. He peers at his watch, and the lunar dome of the night passes dimly under the lamps, and he swigs about and takes possession of one of the tankards, and he oubliettes, and he makes a round, 2 rounds, drinking and idling all at once. His beers are light and nimble. He never leaves. He says that he is never dry. He drinks in light and in shadow, and he is a great favorite. He never leaves, Norm. He is drinking, drinking. He says that he is never dry.